All right. Hello, everybody. I'm trying something new this time. I'm using a different live stream encoding software. So please, please, please let me know if it's working. And if you can hear me, that would be great. I'm hoping that the video is going to be a lot better and that the audio is going to be a lot better. So if it isn't, please let me know. So I haven't seen anybody say they can hear me yet. Hopefully they can. Well, no, I'm very nervous about this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, good. So David says it sounds good. All right, excellent. Well, that's good. I'm using multiple windows this time. So, hey, thank you, Finn's Army and David Smith. Ooh, dig the Dolphins there. TBA, good morning to you. Dan McGee, of course, Matt and Geert. Hello to both of you. And Ron Shack. Good. Get the good jokes going today. Robbie Love. It's not synced. Yeah, it's probably not going to be synced. So I've been playing around with this, and it looks like the video is a little bit slow. Artifact of doing the higher resolution, so I think I'll go to the lower resolution for next time, but I can't change it in mid-gear. Unfortunate. It really is highly dependent on the network, and today's upload speed, pretty slow, unfortunate. So we'll just have to go with 480p, I guess. All right, so I'm hoping that the audio is going to be better. I'm less worried about the video, I guess. All right. Well, it's going to be some fun today. Hey, Frank Anthony, good to see you as well. Paul St. Jean, hi. And Mark Siebes, of course, great to see you. All right, so we're going to be doing the chord changes or soloing to the changes of the letter by the box tops. So the video looks weird. So Matt, it would be helpful if you defined weird a little bit. I'm not sure what that means. Does it mean it's out of sync? Hopefully that's all that it is, and it looks like it's behind maybe the audio. All right, that's unfortunate, but not sure exactly what we can do. I can delay the audio next time so that I don't see the sync. All right. So, but I don't want to try that on the fly because it's going to be tough. May just have to deal with that a little bit later. Okay, so let's go on with this. So the changes. You know what? I think I'll just give the example here. So I'm going to start the backing track, and we'll try and do a little bit of an improv solo and see how that goes. Audio is off. Do you mean the audio is behind or above or ahead of the video? Or do you mean the audio is really not good? If the audio is not good, then I'm going to drop this method completely, because the whole point of doing it is because the audio should be better. But if it is out of sync with the video, I can deal with that later. How's my S Golder? I don't know anything about S Golder. Sorry. All right. Let's see. Hey, Robert Gluck. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Oh, my shoulder. Yeah, it's still screwed up. I went fishing yesterday, really screwed it up, but what are you going to do? Audio's behind, yeah. Oh, the audio's behind the video. That's interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to... That's confusing to me. It should be ahead. Okay. Hopefully it'll get better as it goes on, as the feed gets a little bit better. I found that in practicing, it gets better over time. It's behind. Okay, the audio is about 1 second behind. Okay, well, we'll see if we could do that. Okay. I have an idea of why that's true, and I'll see if I can do something about it. Just a second. I think this is it. Okay, hopefully... Hopefully that helped a little bit. We'll see. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. We'll see. Okay, let's get to the stuff. All right, so we're gonna do soloing to the letter, and here we go. Yeah, I'll have to just try a low resolution video next time, I think, if that's the issue. That's a bummer, but it is what it is. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're just gonna try the improv first. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see. Hey, hi Frank. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Embry's in. Let's see. All right. So, I always hated the song. Hated the song. I wonder why. Cool. Well, this is sort of like a bluesier version of it. And have I heard Joe Cocker's version? Yeah, Joe Cocker did a version of it. It's kind of cool. I always liked this song a lot because of the... it reminded me a lot of the House of the Rising Sun. But that was sort of a more bluesy version of it. So... but in any event, let me... so I took off the distortion on this, and let's talk a little bit about... just the kind of what I was trying to do there, and hopefully it sounded okay. I was improvising, so I hit a couple of bad notes there, but I'm really trying to emphasize the chord changes on it. Now, you can just wail on an A minor pentatonic on this one, but let's go over the chord changes, and I'll show you what I was trying to outline. So the chord changes are basically A minor to an F or an F7. Either one of those, okay? So that's kind of normal, right? Both those chords are in A minor. And then the second one is A to D. Okay. Oh, Gary Moore has a version. Wow, that's cool. I'd love to hear that one. That would be pretty awesome. That would definitely be cool. Hey, ML, good to see you. Okay, so we've got A to F, A to D. And that D is a chord that we'll need to emphasize. There's a couple of notes that we want to make sure that we get in that one. Then we'll go A, and it has this typical walk down, like an A to an A with a G bass, basically. A minor with a G bass. You can think of this as a D7 with a F sharp, or you can think of it as a F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, which I hate thinking of it that way. I just like thinking I'm taking these two notes and I'm walking the bass down from A to E, or to F. And then that E7, or that E chord, right? So it's that walk down is A, minor, G bass, F sharp bass, then an F, and then that E. My baby, she wrote me a letter. Back to the A minor. Okay, so what are the chords that are out or non-diatonic? Well, the two main ones are the D, right? Are the D and the E7th, or the E. Now, A minor and D go together. They go together in the key of G really well, and you'll hear a lot of songs that like are in like you'll hear a lot of Santana songs like this. Right? And the main thing, as Robbie Love is pointing out, is that the chord D has an F sharp in it, and A minor does not. A minor has a regular F. All right. The other thing that's kind of interesting on this one that you can emphasize, I think, is if you think about that first change as not to an F but to an F7 chord. If you think about changing to an F7, then yeah, I'm really sorry about the delay, guys. I don't know what to do about it at this point. I'll have to change the streaming. Yeah, the old one, just watching the audio was so bad, so I'll have to see what I can do. I apologize for that. I was hoping that the sound would be so much better, and hopefully you can hear better, but when I listened to the old recordings, every time I solo, it couldn't hear the backing track anymore, so hopefully you could hear a little bit better. Anyway, I'll have to work with that. Sorry about that. So you've got on the F7, you've got that E flat note, which is also cool because it's in the A minor blues scale. And you don't usually get to sit on that. You don't usually get to sit on that E flat note if you're playing, right? So, all right. So I'm going to see right now if I can do something about the delay. Let's see, advanced audio, and we're going to put a delay in. Let's try this. All right. I don't know if that made it worse or better, or didn't do anything. All right, well, anyway, we'll have to see. It looks like it made it worse to me. That's what I get for trying to do stuff on the fly. I tested this all out and it worked great, of course. But it's hard to know. Sync offset. Let's try that. Not sure if that did anything. Doesn't look like it did. All right, well, in any event, that's a bummer. I'm really bummed about that. Okay, down mix to auto. Let's try that. Okay, all right. So, yeah, so we've got it. It's a little bit out of sync, unfortunately. It's worse. Well, okay, sorry, Ron. Trying to make it better, it didn't happen. Okay, there's just so many, it just suddenly got worse. Oh, okay, well, maybe I should try and fix it then. Well, we could quit. I think we could quit and do this next week then. I think that probably is the best, and just use the old one. Let's try doing that, and let's try this. Okay. I don't know if it made it better. Probably didn't make a difference. All right, so we've got an A minor. We've got a F. We've got an A minor. We've got a D. We've got an A minor with a G, A minor with an F sharp, A minor with an F, or you can just play an F there, right? And then a E7. All right. So we've got that. So like I said, you can just, if you want to, over all these chords, you can just kind of wail on an A minor scale. So and it's good to do that once in a while, but I think if you're doing it all the time, it doesn't really get to the heart of the matter. So like if I'm playing this A minor, all these notes are going to be great. But if I'm playing this F7, amazingly, I can hang on that flatted seventh, or on the flatted fifth of that A minor, of the A blues scale, right? That sounds good. And I think you probably heard me doing that once in a while. And it sounds good over that F7th chord. All right, then on the D chord, so you want to be able to play that D, right? So F sharp is a really good note. F sharp is the best note to play over that D. And you heard me kind of doing the sixth. That kind of works. That stuff usually works directly over a chord, So I'm just really finding all these D triads all over and being prepared to move to them away from the minor pentatonic, from the A minor pentatonic. For people who want to play over that A minor pentatonic, if you know the A minor pentatonic all over the place, like you know that, you should probably just see this D triad right here. That sort of thing is helpful to be able to see that. That would be a major triad, and the seventh sort of thing is right there. But that's a D major triad right there, and you have one here. So if you see all those, it's easy to identify, where you want to play on that third, either here, 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 or here. And those thirds are all going to sound really good, like you know what you're doing on the chords. Now, and that's about it. I mean, I think other than that, I'm sorry, over that E chord then, that's another one that's really good to emphasize. And if you're doing that, you've got this A minor triad right here, and you've got this E7th triad right here, or it's not really E7th triad, I guess it's E7, the kernel of that, or you can play this E triad right here, but it's only one note away from the A minor, you see. Right here is an E, and then here's an A. So that's going to sound really good if you kind of move to that. So there's all sorts of things you can do on that, like, see if I can turn this up a little bit. And that sounds good, right? So sounds good, and you're just one note away, right? Now, for those of you in the know, you can recognize that chord change of going to that E7 before you go to the A minor as the flamenco type of chord change, and it calls out for E harmonic scale, or some people might think of it as a gypsy chord change. It works a lot. Oh, the audio's in sync now. Oh, good. That's excellent to hear. That's really good to know. Okay, so anyway, you can think of that as kind of like the flamenco chord change. And for those people who know that, the harmonic minor scale is going to work really well over that chord change. E minor 7th, or I'm sorry, E7 to A minor. Messed up a couple. Stuff like that. It's going to work really well. And but if you don't know that, it doesn't really matter if you see the E triads all over the place, right? So if you see triads, if you see this triad, you'll notice that that note right there is really close to the A. And if you see this E triad right here, right, you'll see this note right here, which is really close to the A. So I think, while you can wail on the A minor pentatonic scale and just do that, just by adding one or two things, it makes it a lot nicer, I think, and it makes you sink in more with the chord changes, right? So let me just play super basic. I'm not going to try and do any weird bends or anything like that, but I'll just try and play super basic, and I'm going to use the same scale or the same thing, and the first time through I'll just use minor pentatonic. And you won't hear terrible notes, but it won't sound inspiring. And the second time through, I'll play it using the going to the chords, and I'll just note the triads, okay? So here I am. Let me first go to the just using the minor pentatonic. So here it is, minor pentatonic only. Oops, I'm sorry. So, by no means terrible. It looks like I put a chorus on it there for a second. By no means terrible, but it doesn't feel like you're really playing anything special or anything with the chord changes. So now I'll try and do a little bit better, and I'll try and just play those chord changes a little more deliberately. So here we go. All right. So it's a little more challenging to just kind of do it quickly, but I was really just trying to emphasize the triads there as well, and sometimes that's a little clunky. But you can see you're following the song a little bit more, and it makes it more unique. I think it makes it a little more interesting to do. All right. Well, I can see if the conversation has meandered to Yeats and other poets, I've lost you. So let's get on with the. Let me catch up a bit, and let's see if we can do the quiz. The quiz is from TBA, so it's got plenty of semi-literary references anyway. I've changed some of the questions a little bit, but not too much. So let's see. David Smith asks, good old William the Conqueror. Okay, let's see. Elf Fermi asks, Mark, if you were going to start a solo based loosely around the melody for that song, would that be based around the scale shape, chord shape, or something else altogether? That is a great question. So a lot of melodies, it would be, I think the answer, Elf, is that it gets based off of whatever you're thinking of in terms of how you reference what's there. So a lot of times melodies come right out of arpeggios, so they come directly out of chords. Sometimes they come directly out of scales. So it sort of depends. Like this one, would sort of be, if I were thinking of it, oops, I turned off the, uh-oh. Oh. Helps when you're plugged in. Helps when you're plugged in. So on this one, for example, I think how's that? Get me a ticket on an aeroplane. Not a very interesting melody, really. Don't run for a fast train. Lonely days are gone. I'm a coming home. My baby wrote me a letter. Oops, baby wrote me a letter. Something like that. So that really kind of comes out of mostly, I think of it as mostly being in an A minor pentatonic scale. But except for that last note, that weird note right there, which is out of that E7 chord. But that's a great question. That is a great question. And, I think when you're composing any sort of scale, it's one thing to just have the chords and understand where those are for anchors. But you could see by that last solo where I was just trying to play by the book, it wasn't very interesting because there were no musical ideas that were coming out of it. I didn't have a musical idea and then go to it. So a musical idea anchored with some understanding of where the chords are and maybe where some of the scales are is helpful. But when I think about melody, it could be either. So that's a great question. I can see TB and let's see. Follow your root notes. Yeah, so Ron Shack says follow the root notes. So the root notes are good and they're helpful. But if you should, as a general rule, if you're going to use tones that guide the melody or that guide what you're playing, you should use the third of the chord or the seventh, whatever that seventh is. The third and the seventh are the major guide tones in almost all sort of voice leading that people use. So if you play the third, it's really going to stick out. And the main reason is because a lot of the roots are common tones. So for example, if we're playing an A minor, actually A minor is a bad example, but so it would work pretty well. When you're going to that F, if that's not in there, and if you hit the root, it's gonna notice. So that's good. The roots are always good. So I sort of take back what I say. If you play the roots, it's always going to feel very strong. The third is another super, super strong note, and then the seventh is the next one that you want to go. Sometimes that's a flatted seventh, sometimes that's a major seventh, and one of the reasons why the seventh is so good is because it has that difference, right? And the same thing with the third. The third can tell the listener is that a major or a minor. So when we're going, for example, from the A minor to the D, oops, I'm sorry. Let me take off the distortion. When we're going from the A minor and we're going to the D, on an A minor, if we play, that's one thing, but that's already in that A minor pentatonic scale, right? That's good. But if you play that third, that's the difference between that A minor scale that's an A minor. It's got that F in it. And if you go to the third of D, it's got that F sharp. So it really emphasizes you are playing to the change. You're playing to the change with the rest of the band if you play that third, right? So if you play over the A minor, if you emphasize that, it's really going to tell everybody that that's what you're doing. Oh, find the root to be a cage shape. Yeah. Got it, Ron. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you're practicing caged, I hear a lot of people really dissing caged these days. I'm not sure why. It's fine. I think the main thing is you can't think of caged as the only thing there is to know about guitar or a, quote, system that tells you everything, because it doesn't. But it's perfectly fine. And yeah, you're going to be a lot better with caged if you root a chord in there, right? And the best way to do it is to find root notes. I keep telling people this. I have a number I have a few private students that I talk to, and they still don't. A couple of them still don't know the notes of the guitar, and it's such a huge handicap to not do that, to not be instantly able to find the roots, as Ron said. So knowing that a D, if you're looking for Ds, you got to find the open fourth. You got to find this one. 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 Oops, I'm sorry. You got to find this one, right? You got to find this one. And all those, you got to find them really quick, right? So it's helpful. It's helpful to do that because otherwise you're not going to find this chord quickly. You're not going to find those chords quickly. So therefore, you're not going to find the chord tones quick enough. All right, let's say mix it up. Use everything you know. Yeah, it's good. I think it's kind of tough to always use everything you're doing. I think the main thing is when you're in the moment and soloing, you can't think about any of that stuff. It's you got to think about what ideas you're trying to produce in the melody. But that means you have to practice a lot. All right. After time, so Elf Hermie asked, after time, do you hear chord progressions pretty quickly so you can find what shapes to go to right away? So the answer is yes. So after time, you do start hearing things, and you have a long way to go. I have a long way to go for sure. I mean, you can always develop your ears. You can all. That's funny, G-Mac. That's funny. You can always develop your ears. So I'm constantly trying to listen to new things that I haven't heard before to maybe see if I can figure out some things in there. Some people have just great ears. They're born with them, or they practiced it early and they got good at it. But if you don't have good ears, the first thing that you should start doing is try and hear the difference between majors and minors. If you can't hear the difference between a major and a minor, you're very handicapped. So, if you can't tell B.B. King's Thrill Is Gone, if you can't tell that from this, then it's going to be tough for you, because you're never going to get to the stuff like the passing chords, or anything like that. But yeah, definitely hear the difference between major and minor if you're not able to do that. If you're able to do that, that's good. And then basically then the next thing is sevenths and dominant sevenths. If you can hear dominant sevenths, that's great. And I think that'll get you a long way. And then it's a question of hearing the different chord progressions. Is it a 1-4-5 or is it a it's a 1-6-2-5-1 or something like that? Is it the right? Yeah. All right. So good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like listening to unusual chords, says David Smith. I do too. I like them. I don't like super exotic ones, because to me that's sort of like, I guess I like them okay. Or, oops, let me try this one. This one's good. This one is one I like. Those are weird voicings, but but I like things like this that are easy to do, like the ninth voicing here. That's a nice voicing. That's an easy one. Or this one. Or that 13th. That's a nice one. Those are all cool. Yeah, only when in context. Okay. Hearing diminished is awesome. Love the sound. Yeah, so diminished is often just, diminished is really a dominant seventh sound, though, if you think about it. Let's take a simple diminished chord, right? Or let's take a seventh chord. If we take this D7 right here, so I'm going to do the D7 with the root right here, and we'll take this D7 chord. A diminished, if we just take the 4, 3, and 2 strings, we have this. And I would claim that's a diminished sound. That's a tritone right there, right? If I add a different bass note, instead of D, I add D sharp, then I get a diminished, right? And that's a helpful thing to think about, because the kernel of that, this right here, is a seventh kernel, and so seventh chords and diminished chords are kind of related through the kernel of a tritone that they have, right? If I play that, that's a seventh, but if I play this, that's a diminished. All I did was I moved the root note up one. So that's helpful to know. And that's why they're so great as passing chords, because they retain a lot of the flavor of the original chord, but they're going somewhere. Does a full diminished have a major 6? I don't know. I don't remember. Sorry. A full diminished, the triad, is really just it should have I think it does have a major 6, because you're flattening the flatted 7th, right? I think so. If you add the next note up, if you stack another note up there, if you stack the next minor 3rd, right? So we have so let's take C. So if we take C, then we've got E flat, right? Or I'm sorry, yes, E flat, and then we've got F sharp or a G flat, and then we've got A. So yes, a major 6th. Yep. I don't remember that kind of stuff. Once I get beyond the triads, I'm toast. I have to work it out. I know my theory. Well, I know a tiny amount. I know enough to get me in trouble. I figure if I stick mostly to triads and then I play around with it, like the whole 7th thing, I just kind of noticed that when I was trying to get patterns from a Robin Ford type of lick. It's a diminished lick that I learned from Robin Ford, and I figured if I could get it out of this chord, it kind of gets to what Ron was saying about caged, is if I can link something to a chord, and a lesson that I gave a while back on the 7th chords, right? On like thinking about chords and then think about what you play out of a chord. I always think that if I can do that, if I can anchor something to a chord, then if that chord makes sense in that sound, in that song, I can play whatever I want. It's going to work. And that's going to work. Or like this. And that one works for me, actually. That one's a lick that I use a lot in a diminished, going from a 1 to a 4 in the blues. So if you're doing let's do a blues really quickly. Right? So on that change going from the 1 to the 4, so that diminished run right there, I'm heading to that D, or that D ninth, and I'm doing it out of this chord form right here. So that means anytime I find this chord form, which is on the 1 chord or whatever chord, but it's in this format, right? It's a partial from this chord. It's just the 4, 3, and 2 strings, right? Then I can play that lick anytime I want to do it. Going from the 5 back to the 1. So anyway, kind of cool. Sixths and sevenths are hard. I can only count to 4. That's pretty funny, ML. All right. Okay, did you come up with my go-to licks that are based on chord shapes by trial and error because I recognize the scale pattern close to the chord shape? So again, Alf coming up with these great questions today. That's an awesome question. I think it's kind of like, does George Benson sing what he plays or play what he sings? Right? So I think both. So unfortunately or fortunately, I knew scales before I really thought about soloing out of chords. Whoever taught me to solo basically taught me to solo out of scales. And so I always thought scales first. What I would do is I would say, okay, this chord progression, what scale is going to fit over that chord progression? And I wouldn't think about chords. And, both are useful. I mean, if you're playing something like, suppose you're playing something like Hotel California. Oh, whoops! I might have just ruined the live stream. But suppose you're playing something like Hotel California, the solo to that. If you just play a scale, you're going to be missing out a lot because it's slow and those chords really come at you slowly, and so you really have to recognize what's going on. When I think it's a. Oops, I played the wrong. What is it here? I don't know. Right? Something like that. Sorry. So when that's played right there, it's really played over a key chord, right? When this note right here. If you're thinking scales, it's probably not right. And you're not just wailing over a scale. That solo, while everybody loves it, it's not, once you figure it out, the hard part is bending to the notes. It's not actually playing the notes quickly. It's very slow. And so when you're playing, there's playing those key notes out of those scales, especially Don Felder, more so than Joe Walsh, who's playing more kind of lick-based. Which is also cool. I love it, but it's different. Anyway, yeah. But if the chord changes are coming fast, like say Queen's Dead on Time or something like that, you're not going to be able to play chord to chord to chord to chord. You got to play something that fits pretty much with all the chords. Tim Pierce and Guthrie Trapp say that as they solo, they see the cage chord shapes all over the neck. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I know these, but the music goes by too fast for me to think that fast. Well, so here's the thing. Start with, so TBA, I think Ron Shack has your answer. If you know the notes instantly, right? If you know instantly that this is a B, right? Or this is an E, or this is a G. If you can do that without thinking, that's going to make it a lot easier because you can at least start out with practicing, okay, here's the chord change, let me play the root note. And if you can play the root note, once you get used to doing that, you can play the chord. You really can. If you can play the chord change, great. Now, the key, I think somebody also said something about partial chords, which I love. I love playing partial chords, right? Partial chords is just a piece of a chord that you already know. And so if you focus on the partial chord, on two sets of partial chords, the first partial chord set is on strings 1, 2, and 3. And then the second partial chord strings are on 4, 3, and 2. And the reason why I want to emphasize those is because that's where solos are played. People generally don't play solos on the 5th or 6th strings. So if you focus on triads, minor and major, on the 4, 3, and 2, and on the 2, 3, and 1, 3, 2, and 1, you're going to start seeing them, and you're going to start being able to play them, and you'll see them quickly. Can do the arpeggios, but sort of coming up with a melodic improv solo escapes me. Yeah, so start it slowly. Start it slowly. Yep. Start it slowly. I mean, I think one great exercise to do that is just to start out with a backing track, have it very, very slow, and just play one note per chord, just one, and always make it the same one. So, for example, try to start out with the root, play only roots. then play only thirds, then play only fifths. And that way you'll start to be able to navigate quickly and understand what's there. Now, it's going to turn out that that's not the most musical. What often is the most musical is going from the third to the seventh, or the third to a root. So, for example, in the one that we just did, where it's my baby just wrote me a letter. Right, the end part of that is the E7th. My baby or the E7th. My baby just wrote me a letter. God, I can't sing today. Just wrote me a letter. That E7 to the A minor. Right, this sounds great because I'm going from the third of E7 to the root. Which is of the A minor, and it's only one fret away, and our ears love that. Our ears love a simple melody because singers generally don't jump all over the place. Listen to a lot of singers play. I did a video a while back. It was not well received on lyrical soloing. Maybe I just gave it a crappy title, but I don't think a lot of people disliked it. Just not a lot of people liked it. And it's really on how to play like a singer, not by bending and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, but by playing notes that singers would sing. Singers don't generally jump up and down and all over the place. They generally play things close together, sing things close together. And so when we can voice lead like that, when we can play something like this, it sounds good to people as opposed to, right? It sounds like a jump when you do that. So, that's one of the ways that you can tell some, I don't want to say pros from amateurs because that's very, arrogant of me. I'm not a pro. But that's one of but I still work on this, so maybe it isn't, maybe that's right. To play, something like this. And switching around all over the place, that sounds not right to our ears. So the closer you can do it, the better. And let's see. Good thing about goofing up famous songs is that you sometimes come up with your own unique licks. Yeah, no, I think that's cool. I think this whole YouTube phenomenon of playing, and I'm guilty of it too, of playing exactly the way, or trying to play exactly the way somebody else played, that can be good. It can be a good exercise to do that. But to never not play a safe note, that's crazy. Try and do stuff, because otherwise you'll never figure out, cool chromatic stuff, for example, that works really well. Like I'll come back to this song again. Like over this, right? The babe I'm gonna leave part of I wrote a letter. Hey, Zepp should be sued over that too, I guess. That was a joke, okay? But anyway, on that chord progression, A minor with the G to the F sharp to the F to the E, you can play stuff like, and it's going to sound okay, especially when it finally resolves to that E7. And then jump back up to the A, or move up to the A, or go down to the A by another chord tone. Anyway, there we go. It's all fun. It's all fun. I'm a pro to you. I try my best. That I suck at. Too many important things to practice. Yeah, there's a lot of good important things to practice. I'm still having fun becoming a player that plays out of chords rather than scales. I'm still having fun with that because it feels new to me. I've only been doing it for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know, something like that, where I really sort of understand what I'm doing and I try hard to do it. Probably 10 years, where I've started trying to do it, and now I try and do that a lot. Robbie Love says chromatic licks are great for walking bass. Yes, they are. They are. Right? Cool stuff. Love it. All right. Can sound like a jazz player if you practice that stuff. And the only thing you really have to know to do stuff like that. Sounds a little bit weird, but if it's not fun, burn the guitar. Is you got to know where you're going. So that's the only trick to the chromatic line for the bass. Like if you're going from an A to a D, like in a blues. You can play. That was pretty crummy, but it ended up at the right notes. As long as you end up at the right place, it's fine. I've talked about that too before. I like to play chromatic notes that I think a lot of people don't, because it's not a chromatic scale, but it's just chromatic notes out of a position, and I found it kind of helpful. So, if I'm playing this, we all know, or an A7 chord here, if it's rock, right? Whatever. We know that a pattern that's going to work great is the minor pentatonic, right? Right? But as long as I end up at the chord, let's say I was going to a D7, going from A to a D. As long as I play chromatic notes and end up on a chord tone, it's going to sound pretty freaking great. So, what was I doing there? I was just playing sort of random notes. It's going to be okay. As long as you land okay, it's fine. What did Eddie Van Halen say? Playing guitar is like falling down the stairs and landing on your feet. That's what he said. So there you go. There's only 12 notes. One of them's bound to be correct. Why not play them all until you find it? Almost Godzilla. What is Godzilla like? Something I don't remember the lick. All right. I don't remember the song well enough to just do it. Speaking of lyrical soloing, since singers usually keep their notes fairly limited, doing call and response, scat, noodling can be impressive and easy to do. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So if you practice singing and playing, you'll get better. I hate to put myself on the spot, but if I sing notes, if I'm trying to sing ba 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 ba, I can kind of get it, and it's also helpful when you miss them, because then you start to correct yourself. And a lot of people are singing voices. We recognize what's wrong. We may not be great singers, but we can recognize what's wrong more easily than we can if it's on the guitar. Yeah, Morse plays a ton of chromatics. Yeah, he does. He has become, I was like, he was my absolute idol when I was in my teens. I love Steve Morse, but I love him less now. He's a great player. I mean, I'm not gonna diss on him, but I don't love him as much. But I think he plays a lot. He plays it safer than he needs to, I think. I'd love to see him go out a little bit without just playing fast, but really try different stuff, like maybe like Beck, like Jeff Beck does. George Benson, yeah. Well, George Benson is like, anybody who can do that is just unbelievable. I mean, George Benson can't just scat while he plays. He is the guy who does it. He's amazing at it. Hey, Dave, you just got home. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Hearing the difference between tones and semitones. Yep. All of that. What band was Steve Morse? He was in the Dixie Dregs years ago. I mean, he's a great musician. So I anything that's said critically is said critically, knowing that he's way better than I'll ever be. So that's there. Larry Carlton. Yeah, well, Larry Carlton, I think most of you guys know he's my favorite. If I had to pick one player I'd like to play like, it'd be Larry Carlton. He could snap my fingers and be there. I think he's as far as I'm concerned, he's the guy I'd love to play like. He has a great blend of rock and jazz, and he knows all that stuff. And oh my God, the stuff that he can play with the chordal stuff, unreal, unreal. Yeah, that's right. Steve Morse plays with Deep Purple now, and he played with Kansas for a short time. I saw him. He does some amazing things with the volume knob on his guitar. Just incredible stuff. Incredible volume swells, and just lovely stuff. I saw him in concert at the Newport in a real small place years and years ago, and he was just incredible. He was nice to me after the show too. I talked to him for a while. Other people have had mixed things where they said he was kind of a jerk, but I never had any bad experience. He was good. So anybody who's that gracious spends a little bit of time. It's good. All right. Yeah, the Dregs were pretty good, despite their name. All right. Well, hey, is the audio still screwed up? Anyway, and I wonder how the sound was in terms of the recording while I was playing guitar and backing track, if it was better. If it was, then it was okay. One of the first sounds, what's the song with emotions in the title? Okay, good. Audio's good. Not for TBA. Okay. Yeah, so maybe, it's a little bit of a higher speed transmission. So maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Okay. All right. So let's see. Marvin Gardens. Thank you. Hey, Marvin Gardens. Always underrated place on Boardwalk. Marvin Gardens. Very important to get those. The green ones were maybe a little bit better, but the yellow ones, those were good too. Okay. Get fiber optic if you can. Okay. All right. All right. I will keep the audio. I'm not going to change it now. All right. So let's see. So I'm going to put this away because it's starting to hurt my shoulder a little bit. So I'm going to put this down. And why don't we do the quiz? The quiz is TBA's, so he would be exempt, except that there's maybe a couple of questions that are from me. I have changed a couple of the questions to make them a little bit easier so everybody can play. TBA, I got to tell you, writes very, very difficult questions. If you're getting TBA's questions, you are an ace. That is for sure. You're an absolute ace. Okay, so but I tried to keep the flavor of them. Okay, and many of them are exactly the same. Okay, so this one is all about animals. Oh, so ML, before I get going, so ML asks, how's the new job? Well, how can I put this? I have more time in the evenings, so I think, as far as I love running this channel. I love these Sunday morning things, and I love all this stuff, and I want to be able to put time into it, and so hopefully it's going to keep me there. We'll see. I'm not managing anybody anymore. Oh, it's like 1,000-pound weight was lifted from my shoulders. Not that I didn't love the people that I managed; they were great. I really did. But it's tough managing people. And managing product lines and stuff like that. That was tough. So for those of you who are business minded, in the last company I managed a P&L as well. So I managed not only a product line, but I managed the revenue stream from that, and was responsible for growing it. And a lot of work. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so let's go with the quiz. So today's quiz is all about animals. So it's either going to be songs or albums or groups. So all about animals. What do? I do lots of stuff. I was a management consultant for a long time. I fixed businesses. But in my last role, I was the director of analytics and reported up to a CEO. So that was a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure that I don't need. But he was a good guy. He's one of my longtime friends. Great guy. Just boy, it's tough building stuff. So I'm a mathematician and engineer by training. So that's what I do. Really super interesting, right? I'm a mathematician and engineer, and I work in insurance. So that's the end of the party. Everybody leaves. All right. Let's see. Okay, so this is all about horses. Shit. Okay, so I'm going to have to recalibrate. I'm going to have to move that question down a bit. This is all about animals. Guys got me off my game. Okay, this is a rockabilly trio that originally called themselves Brian and the Tomcats. Remember, this is all about animals. Marvin Gardens. A rockabilly trio originally calling themselves Brian and the Tomcats. They were an 80s band. That's right, 3-Card Monte, Stray Cats. Robbie Love, Stray Cats. Garrett, Stevie Ray. Hey, Stevie Ray, good to see you. Mud Weiser. Oh, good to see you, Mud. Marvin Gardens, David Smith, G-Mac. Trevor, I think I haven't seen you here before, so welcome. Triple S, meow. Wow. All right, good to see a bunch of new people. This is great. Okay, this is a Canadian rock group whose name comes from the title of a Herman Hesse novel. Ooh, bit of a tough one. Let that sink in for just a second. Canadian-American group whose name comes from the title of a Herman Hesse novel. And 2 of their hits come from the movie Easy Rider. I don't know if they come from it, but they were featured in Easy Rider. One of them was Pusher Man, the Pusher Man. I see somebody has already answered correctly. That's right. Geert Steffenwolf got it first, and Stevie Ray's got it. Their second one is Born to Be Wild. Yeah, Steppenwolf. That's right. That's right. So the Herman Hesse novel, Steppenwolf. But yeah, I mean, they were featured in Easy Rider. Peter Fonda just died, didn't he? Didn't he die yesterday or the day before? So that's the end of an era, man, because Dennis Hopper's been dead for a while. So, boy, wasn't that cool? The beginning of that movie where where they're playing Pusher Man in the beginning. They're stuffing the money into the gas tanks. Awesome. Love that movie. All right. Magic Carpet Ride is another one of their hits, but not featured on that on the soundtrack of that movie. Okay. This is a 1971 classic from Sticky Fingers. It features an acoustic guitar in Nashville tuning. If you're really geeky, you know that. Canadian American. Steppenwolf. Wild Horses is the answer, right. 1971 classic hit from the Sticky Fingers album that features Nashville tuning. Wish His Sister Would Drop. Beautiful. Oh, no, we don't wish that. No, we don't. Goat's Head Soup. Wild Horses. Beast of Burden. No, it's Wild Horses. Yep, 1971. Rolling Stones. Okay. All right. Let's see. This bird-named group might be Hard to Handle. That was one of their hits. Another one of their hits was Angel. She Talks to Angels, I think it's called. Or I think it was just called Angel, but She Talks to Angels. Ooh. The Black Crowes, that's right. The Black Crowes. They did that cover of Hard to Handle. Awesome. I did a lesson on that a while back. Maybe I should do that again. I did a lesson a long time ago on that one. It's a good one. Let's see. All right. Chart topper from Prince in 1984. This avian-named song, this bird-named song, from a movie about a son's difficult relationship with his abusive father. 1984 is too new for you. Mudweiser gets it. When Doves Cry. 3-card Monty. When Doves Cry. Geert, G-Mac, Trevor, Triple S, Marvin Garden, Stevie Ray. A lot of people getting one Prince song. So Elf Hermie asked, oh, have I seen the Otis Redding documentary, I've Got Dreams to Remember? No, I haven't seen it. I'm going to check it out, though. And TVA, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that lesson on Hard to Handle. Okay, ML gets it as well, even though it's past his time. Mark Siebes. Okay, let's go. The next one, let's see. This group from Berkeley, California, has hits that include A Long December and Mr. Jones and Me. Or I think it's just Mr. Jones. Ooh. All right, let me repeat this. There we go. Counting Crows. Counting Crows. That's right. Marvin Gardens gets it. Counting Crows. They had that Long December is a beautiful song, but they had that hit with Mr. Jones and Me, where people thought he's actually talking about his appendage, but apparently he's not. So, all right. Anyway, here we go. Next one. Next one. Counting Crows. Not Doves, yes. This song was originally titled Desert Song. This first big hit from America was banned by several radio stations because it was believed the lyrics referred to heroin use. Mr. Jones is ashamed. Horse with No Name, you got it. The Wildfire's a great. I love that one too, right? On a Pony Called Wildfire, but that's not the right answer, Marvin Gardens. But that's a great guess. All right, so who is it? G Max says Mr. Jones is itching. You know, I watched. Has anybody seen that movie Chef? Great movie if you haven't seen it. John Leguizamo and I can't remember the main guy who wrote it. He's the director of Iron Man. John, I can't remember his last name. But there's this scene where they're in Louisiana. It's really hot, and the guy takes out cornstarch and puts it down his pants, and he said, "I got to put cornstarch on my werewolf." So that's a thing that my daughter will sometimes say. You gotta put. You know, it's so hot, Dad, do you need to put cornstarch on your werewolves? Okay, anyway. John Favreau, yeah. It's pretty funny. All right. Okay, let's see. This 1977 hit by Heart with a fishy title has the lyrics, "You lying so low in the weeds, bet you're gonna ambush me. You have me down, 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 down to my knees." Who? Werewolves have nards. Barracuda. Yeah, Marvin Gardens, thank you. John Favreau. Barracuda gets Robbie Love, gets it first. Trevor coming in. Trevor Trebi, Elf, Mark Siebes, Mudweiser, David Smith, Stevie Ray, ML. Barracuda, and it's not an animal. Okay. I think a barracuda is. Yeah, I understand that they're referencing a person who's a barracuda, calling him that. But yeah. Okay. This song is This song from Magical Mystery Tour features surreal lyrics, including "I Am the Eggman," "Yellow Matter Custard," and "Pigs that run from a gun." As opposed to humans. Yes, humans are animals. Yes, I get it. We are animals. I understand that. I Am the Walrus. That's right. I am the walrus. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggmen. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Elf says it. All right. Elf gets it. Geert. Few people have it. I think on the Ruddles album it was "I Am the Waitress." The guy who thinks he's a walrus. All right. Okay, this is a tough one for me. I wouldn't have gotten it. This British band with a chilling animal name formed in 2002 and hit it big with "When the Sun Goes Down" and "Do I Wanna Know." I think those were both hits. One of them, "Do I Wanna Know," was a hit in 2013, a huge hit. So I would know. Semolina Pilchard, crawling up the Eiffel Tower. Yep. All right, this British band with a chilling animal name formed in 2002 and hit it big with "When the Sun Goes Down" and "Do I Wanna Know." Too modern. Okay. It's what you might get if you combined Alaska with a I don't know, with a capuchin. Yeah, my daughter would know as well. Or I'm going to be a little bit incorrect here. If you combined Alaska or if you combined Greenland with a gorilla, with a simian. Okay, yeah, with a simian. Arctic monkeys. Arctic monkeys. I know a gorilla's not a monkey. Please don't correct me on that. I already know. It's a great ape. I get it. Monkeys have prehensile tails. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Everybody's heard about the animal. Here's an easier one. Everybody's heard about the animal in the title of this song. It was a hit for the Trashmen and the Ramones, and it was an obsession for Peter Griffin of the Family Guy TV show. Is that right? They do a nice cover of James Bond's "Diamond Are Forever," Arctic Monkeys. Oh, I'll have to listen to them. It's an animal. Bird is the word. Yeah, bird, bird, bird is the word. You got it. All right. Surfing bird. Is I think where we were looking for, but close enough. Close enough. Okay. Let's see. This is one for the 80s guys. This bird-named British 1980s new wave group had the hit "I Ran So Far Away." And also Space Age Love Song, but I have to admit I didn't remember that one. A Flock of Seagulls. That's right. Maybe I should have done this. I can't do that hairstyle. Oh God, no, I got it. All right. There we go. Flock of seagulls. Yep. The dude with the haircut. That's right. Oops, I went the wrong way. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. This group from a 1970s TV series had a hit with "I Think I Love You." I look like Sean Daniel. Yeah. The Monkees. No, think. Yeah, that's right. The Partridge Family. The Partridge Family. That's right. So did people like that? It wasn't Ted Nugent. It was actually Johnny Winter. Did people like Zabel head on the Mark Zabel head on the on Johnny Winter? I hope y'all like that. I had fun doing it. Okay, let's see. This band, formed in 1977, recorded the hits Photograph, Rock of Ages, Rocket, and Pour Some Sugar on Me. Good. I'm glad you guys like that. Definitely Leopard, says Marvin Gardens. Love it. Let's see. Robbie Love got it. Mudweiser got it. Trevor got it. Elf got it. Marvin Gardens. David Smith. Ron Shack. I think Ron's delayed a little bit. He got the Partridge Family. Stevie Ray. ML. All right. Let's move on. In this song, in this bird song, time keeps slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Pete Willis is super underrated. I don't know the guys' names in the band of Def Leppard, but they were good. Fly Like an Eagle. That's right. Stevie Ray gets it. Robbie Love. Elf. Robbie Love. Steve Miller. You're right. Mudweiser gets it. McDon BR. Hey, McDon BR. Hello to you. I might have said that before. Oscar Hellman. Good to see you. Thanks for coming, stopping by. David Smith. Oh, another copyright strike. Is that right? Steve Miller's big on that? Did not know. Fly Like a Chicken. I think Seal also did it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here's a good one. Hey, hey, mama said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. What song? Yeah, heck yeah, Steve Miller's underrated guitarist. Fry Like a Chicken. Black Dog, says G-Mac, with Stevie Ray, Robbie Love, David Smith, McDon BR. Oh, okay. Trevor, Geert, Mudweiser, Marvin Gardens. A lot of people getting that one. Okay. Zep, you got it, Dan McGee. Okay. Okay, here's a band that had a hit. This band had a hit with 8 Miles High. Yeah, I like that name too, Mudweiser. I love it. The Birds, you got it. Robbie Love, G-Mac, Mudweiser, Stevie Ray, McDon BR, Geert. No idea, says Spardella Julio. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for all the comments on the videos. I always enjoy them. Read between the lines. Hey, good to see you again. The Birds. Eminem. Elf, you missed that one. All right. Let's see. Okay. This was the first hit song by the B-52s. It went to #1 in Canada. Its lyrics feature real and imaginary marine animals and a beach party. All right, I'll repeat that again, and then I'll give some information that TBA gave me that I had no idea. This is the first hit song by the B-52s. It went to #1 in Canada. Its lyrics feature real and imaginary marine animals and a beach party. This particular song was very well... Oh, lots of people getting Rock Lobster. Yeah, there you go. Mudweiser, G-Mac, Stevie Ray, Elf, Geert, Marvin Gardens, Robbie, Love, Dan McGee, David Smith, McDon BR. Marvin Gardens comments, Fast Crew. You got it. A lot of ML gets it. Yeah. Weird band. Yeah, they were a bizarre band when they came out. They were definitely out there. And now all they're really remembered is for Rock Lobster and Love Shack. But they had some great stuff. They sang a little bit off key. They used a lot of dissonant notes. It was interesting. I think Bowie really liked them. And This comes from TBA, so I'm not making this up. This is, I mean, this they were very well received by critics, but apparently it helped inspire John Lennon to return to this recording studio after his 5-year retirement, and then he recorded the 1980 album Double Fantasy. So there you go. Yeah, anything to help get Lennon out of retirement is good. Okay, and it turned out that's all we got from him, from that unfortunate bad thing that happened. I don't know, was that 80 or 81? Must have been 81. I think it was 81. He was 40 years old or something, right? Yeah. Anyway, all right, I'll move on. Let's see. All right, this is another band question. One of the surviving members of this mega-selling group really, 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 really hates YouTube. 1980. He died. Okay. Oh, it was like December, wasn't it? He died. Didn't he get shot in December? Yeah. There you go, Garrett. Okay, December 8th. Yeah. Okay. So this. Where was I? One of the surviving members of this mega selling group really, 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 really hates YouTube. The Beagles. Robbie Love gets it. Mudweiser. The Eagles. Day after your 18th birthday. The Eagles. Eagles. Okay, let's see. This is a 1978 Heart album with 2 theme sides on it. One side was a rocking side, and one side was the ballad side, and it has 2 animals that reflect that. 1978 by Heart. Dog and Butterfly. Trevor gets it. Yeah. That's a tough one, yeah? Dog and Butterfly. They didn't have any big hits off of it. That would be like, what, Dreamboat Annie? And what was the one that came after Dreamboat Annie? I think some people are getting it kind of late. MAGA Mad Dad. Stevie Ray. All right. So let's see here. Okay. This song by Meatloaf is the title of a 1977 debut album. Magazine? Bad out of hell. Bad out of FL. Oh, I thought it was something else. All right, so let's see who gets it. A lot of people got this one. Garrett gets it. Stevie Ray, Robbie Love, Read Between the Lines, Mudweiser, Dreamboat was 1976. Dreamboat Annie, yeah. Marvin Gardens, Trevor, Trey Rebbe, MAGA Mad Dad, McDon BR, ML. Saw Meatloaf supporting ELO. No kidding. Wow, that would have been a good concert. Maybe. All right, David Stein, Ron Shack. All right, a lot of people got that one. Bad out of hell. Okay, this is an easy one for everybody. This is an Elvis song about an animal that never caught a rabbit. Easy. We're in the home stretch here. Just got a few more. Hound Dog, says Stevie Ray and Mudweiser and Robbie Love and Garrett and Elf and McDon BR and Trevor and Read Between the Lines and David Smith and MAGA Mad Dad. A lot of people got that one. I think it was so easy that a lot of people didn't even answer. Okay. ML sold an SUV to Heart's drummer. No kidding. That's hilarious. All right. Yeah, Stevie Ray is so fast. Old Shep. Oh, you know what I didn't put in? I didn't add the question about what's the I think it's called Old King, right? The Neil Young song about the dead dog that he had. Yeah, I love that song. Okay, anyway, let's see. This song by The Who, included on the album A Quick One, features John Entwistle singing about an eight-legged creepy animal. Let me read that again. This song by The Who, included on the album A Quick One, features John Entwistle singing about an eight-legged creepy animal. Boris the Spider. That's right. Elf got it. Stevie Ray, Mudweiser, Geert, David Smith, McDonald BR, Robbie Love, Read Between the Lines, ML, Trevor, Trey Rebby. You're going to have to help me out with that pronunciation. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. ML, Ron Shack. All right. And I saw that Elf said, me and you and a blank named Boo. That's a pretty easy one, too. Who was that? Hoyt Axton? Yeah, I like that one. All right. A dog named Boo, for those of you not in the know. Okay. This is a Bobby Day song covered by Michael Jackson and others. He rocks in the treetop all day long, hoppin' and a boppin' and singing his song. Boris and Natasha, Robbie Love. Oh, didn't you love Fractured Fairy Tales and all that kind of stuff? Moosylvania. Great. Fredonia, yeah. Good stuff. Rockin' Robin, says Robbie Love, El Fermi, Mudweiser, McDon BR, David Smith, Stevie Ray, Ron Shack, Read Between the Lines, Gib. Hey, Gib, how are you? ML. All right, we all say it. Okay, let's see. Just a couple more. Two more. This is a group that formed for a TV sitcom in the 1960s. Their hits include Daydream Believer and Last Train to Clarksville. The Monkees, that's right. The Monkees. Is that right? They played Rocky and Bullwinkle on TV here and they didn't hold up too well. That's interesting. I've seen the Fractured Fairy Tales ones, and to me, they held up pretty well. And Sherman and the Wayback Machine and all that. I like those. I noticed that Robbie Love was tweeting the Rockin' Robin. That's great. All right. The Monkees. All right. A lot of people got the Monkees. I'm not even going to say. Everybody got that one. Stephen Stills was almost a monkey. Is that correct? I didn't know that. Well, apparently, and this is from TBA again, who's just a font of information on this. He said the guys responded to ads in the Daily Variety and Hollywood Reporter seeking, quote, folk and roll musicians, singers for acting roles in new TV series. So God knows what folk and roll means, but kind of interesting. That makes sense. Stills told Torque to audition. I think it's kind of interesting that the Monkees kind of fought to play their music. Because I think, Michael Nesmith wrote stuff from the beginning, but they weren't allowed in the studio to play it, and then later they did. And then actually after 68, when the show was dropped, they actually played on tour for a while. Anyway. Okay. Last question. Last friend. Good friend of Peter Tork. Is that right? Stephen Stills or you? ML, were you a friend of Peter Tork? That'd be interesting to know. Making Banana Splits horror movie. That's right. Michael Nesmith's mom invented liquid paper. That's right. Okay. Nesmith started MTV. Is that right? I remember he had that short video, Elephant Parts. It was kind of weird. Funny. Okay, last question. Got it, ML. Got it. Okay. Last question. This is a song by Survivor. 2 words. Rocky 3. L. Fermi says, "Eye of the Tiger." Eye of the Tiger, says Mudweiser, Stevie Ray, David Smith, McDon BR, Trevor Trerebi, Robbie Love, STK BKR, Studebaker 1. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Mr. T. Such a perfect song for Rocky. I agree. Although, the original Rocky theme, that is hard to beat. It really is. That's excellent music. Now I'm going to tear up from Rocky. Craziness. In Philadelphia, they forced people to take that statue down, and they put it in. They took it from the top of the steps and moved it someplace else because people complained about it. There's so many true great fighters or boxers that came from Philadelphia, including Joe Frazier and many others. Yeah, but it's still great. You gotta love it. Let's see. A couple of comments. So Neil Young plays lead guitar in a couple of Monkey songs. James Burton plays awesome solo on Papa Jean's Blues. I think that I've been told that Glenn Campbell played the solo on Valerie, but I looked it up and he didn't. It was some other guy that played it. But they had great players playing for sure. And then I believe the song. So somebody else said he had the first video on MTV. I thought that the first video ever played on MTV was "Video Killed the Radio Star" by it was the guy that was in Trevor Horn, the Buggles, I think. He was in Yes for a while. Trevor Horn was Yes's singer. Not Trevor Rabin, Trevor Horn. Yeah, that's right. The Wrecking Crew. So the Wrecking Crew must have done a lot of monkey stuff, huh? So Elf, yeah, they put the statue back, but they put it on the side. They didn't put it on the top of the steps. It's not on the top of the steps anymore. Yeah, Gonna Fly Now. Isn't it? It's amazing. I love the Buggles. Yeah, the Buggles. Meant that Nesmith came up with MTV idea. Yeah. No, I figured that, Geert. It was somebody else said he had the first video. He may have produced that video. I don't know. Cloud Skychuck says, "Yeah, Gonna Fly Now." Yeah, I love that. I have to say, I love that, and I love it. Fits the scene so well. The scene where he's running through the streets of Philadelphia when it's dark out and they're playing the ballad version, or the slow, kind of sad ballad version of Gonna Fly Now is good. And then, of course, when he's running with all the kids, it's just a great scene. He's running through the market. Shows off the city well, which was not an attractive city at that time. It still has some issues. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they shot it on location. It shows an American city, mid-'70s, that's kind of in... not a good state. I don't know. I liked it about it. I like that a lot. Bill Conti is awesome. Neil only plays on one Monkeys tune. Mudweiser says, "I suddenly realized I have the spelling of a fourth grader. I'm not impressed with myself today." You should take it a little bit easy on yourself. I lift to Gonna Fly Now. Gibbs says, "I lift to Gonna Fly Now 12 ounces at a time." Yeah, Robbie, that scene where he drinks the raw eggs. Oh my God, that's craziness. Yeah, the horns harmonies are really good in that. I agree. To me, that's something that's missing from a lot of music that I really dig about 60s music in particular. Was they had a lot of horn arrangements, and particularly they still had brass in that was not sax. Like, it's one thing with sax. Sax is cool. Love having sax in music. Right. Drugs, sax, and rock and roll. Right. But no, I love sax music, but I love like trumpet as well, and the other brass instruments. They're just not as prevalent. Post '60s and '70s. I think when the synth kind of came in, it's just too bad because it's really, I don't know. To me, it's really something. The trumpet in particular really moves me. I have to say that that's one thing that people have asked me about, like how do you get out of the rut? How do you get out of a playing rut? And one of the ways I try to do it is I listen to trumpet players. I stop listening to the guitar players and I listen to trumpet. For some reason, trumpet works for me. And on my good days, what I'll do is I'll try and transpose a trumpet song and or solo. Because they play differently, because they think of different lines, because it's a totally different instrument, and it's not as visual as guitar. It's it and other instruments. One of the things that I think when you listen to trumpet players or sax players, but I think especially trumpet players, they sound more musical largely because they have to sound like they have to do things that singers have to do. Singers have to breathe. Guitar players, we don't have to ever stop to breathe, and so sometimes the space in our solos sucks. we play like guitar players doing guitar exercises. Great trumpet solo on "Alone Again" or by "Forever Changes." Okay, what? So Robbie, what album is that on? Is that on "Forever Changes"? I gotta listen to that. I gotta listen to that. Yeah, is that right? Richie Blackmore suggested it. That's interesting. Caribbean Queen. Okay. Played trumpet in school. Claire de Lune. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, like, I really like a lot of the swing tunes, and I like listening to guys who play what's called stride piano, the stride piano players, like the Fats Wallers and stuff like that. It's nobody plays that now because it takes forever to get good, but some of those bands had just incredible trumpet players. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Anyway, so I love those sorts of things. So like tunes like Sweet Sue or Sweet Georgia Brown or Honeysuckle Rose. Easy to understand songs, but they're not 1-4-5s. They're not blues. So the plays are a little bit different. Penny Lane. That's true. Penny Lane has a nice little trumpet solo. How to make a trumpet song into a guitar song. Is that a request for a video? I'm sure that'll be way up there on the most popular lists. But I'm happy to do it because it kind of comes in with transposing, right? I mean, I think anything that you do to Guthrie Govan, I'm not too fond of his music, but obviously he's a great player, and he's a good musician, great musician. One of his suggestions is to just anything you hear, any melody that you hear, just try and figure it out. Like, if you hear "Happy Birthday," you should be able to play it on guitar, play the melody. So, yeah. Oh yeah, pick up the pieces. Yeah, Average White Band. Great horn, super tight horn section. Good stuff. Great, the drums are great on that too. And the guitar is actually really good. Tried to learn the melody to feel so good. Yeah, that's a good one. Chuck Mangione. Now, if you want a good guitar solo, listen to Grant Geisman's solo in that song. Unreal. It's so good. Yeah, Guthrie Govan's a great teacher. He really is a great teacher. But, I never had the desire to play that kind of deedly-dee stuff, super fast. I just got out of that. But his teaching's great. Love it. Yep. I mean, the playing. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of when I got out of guitar, was when I realized I didn't like a lot of the guitarists who were considered to be top players in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not into that music at all. Just didn't want to play like that. Let's see, Matt, working on Happy Birthday. Excellent. That's good melody. Yes, that's true, Elf. If you want a good, listen to Feels So Good, the Chuck Mangione, head to any elevator and you'll probably hear it. Well, I don't know whatever happened to that guy. That was a huge hit, though, in the late 70s, I think, right? He was a Canadian guy, right? I think so. Let's see. Tower of Power. Oh, yeah, the Tower of Power horn section, right? They were in so many things. Weren't they in like a bunch of Elton John as well? Elton John always used he always used Tony Tennille and Tower of Power horns. So maybe it was Gus Dudgeon or some of these English studios. Anyway, Guthrie has an Oxford degree in English. Is that right? Well, I think it shows. I mean, he's clearly he's great. He seems like a nice person and is very analytical. Very analytical. Don't quit my day job. I'm not going to, Ron. You mean for my singing? I hope you mean for my singing. Very early Chicago had great horns. Yes, they did. They did. That's, I think, what made them really interesting, at least to me. All right, 78. Tower Power last week. Anybody who... now, I don't know if they're still around, but I saw them a while back. Oh, man. This is going way back. This is like probably 30 years now. But Rob McConnell and the Boss Brass. They were Canadian group. Just a great stuff. Chuck was born in Rochester. Is that right? I didn't know that. Okay. But they were fantastic. Guthrie worked out of McDonald's out of college. Hey, well, so did I. I worked at McDonald's for like 3 years. I worked at McDonald's. Pressing the button, flipping the burgers. Learning how to take when a customer says rotten things to you, how to take it with a smile. SRV in the Tower of Power. Okay. He was on The Simpsons. Chuck Mangione. Is that right? No kidding. Bill Chase, horns. I don't remember Bill Chase. Bobby Keys. Chuck was on King of the Hill. Brian Setzer Orchestra. Yeah, Brian Setzer uses horns. But again, they feature sort of the guitar as the main feature of the lead instrument, whereas in most big bands, it's the horns. I'm one of those geeks who likes... oh, God, I'm forgetting his name. Stan Kenton. I'm one of those geeks who likes Stan Kenton. And, that's the most unhip stuff you're ever going to listen to. But the horn sections are so tightly arranged. I mean, it's just fun. It's just nice, I think, to hear a nice arrangement of that kind of stuff with lots and lots and lots of dynamics in it. And when they hit the right notes, it's just like heaven. It's just like heaven. Do I know Colin James's big band stuff? I don't. But Duke Robillard does stuff with that as well, just like Brian Setzer does. He does stuff with horns. So if you're into jump blues, who's the other? Roomful of Blues also had a good horn section. So they'll often have good guitar and good horn stuff in them. Colin James Little Big Band. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, I mean, look. Geert says Billie Holiday's early stuff. Of course. I mean, well, first of all, I'm not going to not recommend that people listen to Billie Holiday. It's like hard to beat that. But so many things from back then featured the horns because the horn was the marquee instrument. If you were hot shit, you played horn. I mean, that's what you did. I mean, it's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. Right? It's that way for a reason, because the bugle or the trumpet was the lead instrument, the main one. Louis Armstrong played the trumpet, right? Dizzy Gillespie. I mean, these guys were these guys were there. I mean, sax was there as well after Bird, but it was that way. It was only till Charlie Christian showed you could amplify the guitar and make it a lead instrument that it became that way. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Elf. It is interesting, you know. I have a much greater appreciation for stuff that I used to dislike way back when, um, and I just think it's it's nice to get the variety, really. Andrew's sisters, yeah, yeah. Wish you'd do another big one. Am I familiar? Yes, I am familiar with Duke Robillard. Yeah, I like him a lot. I like Duke Robillard a lot. In fact, if you have a particular song you'd like me to do, I was looking at a wasp out there. If you have a particular song you'd like me to do from Duke, I would be happy to listen to it and give it a shot. Duke's a very good player, and he's very tasteful player. Yeah, yeah. The Andrews sisters are great. Johnny V. Good could play the guitar just like ringing a bell. Yes, he could. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, of course. I mean, we got to give Chuck his due, and and Jimmy and Jimmy Page and Beck and Eddie Van Halen and Santana and Steve Vai and all those guys. It's all real stuff, right? And it's just good to broaden the horizons. That's all. Louis Armstrong and Charlie Parker were every bit as good. Yeah. All right. Well, the Mills Brothers getting into a whole different track. Oh, and Eric. Yes, I forgot Eric. Thank you, Mudweiser. Thank you. Don't want to forget Eric Clapton or George Harrison either, right? He was a big one. Okay, I mean, there's so many great guitarists, and even before that, Charlie Christian, Wes Montgomery. I mean, so many others, but gotta give the tip to Charlie Christian, yeah. And other people would say Django. I think Charlie Christian probably was the guy who really did it, but Django too. All right. I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna see if I can get up to the lake and catch another few pickerel and a few bass, and have a nice evening. And I will see you all later. This was a long one, but I really enjoyed it. I hope that I'm gonna check this out a little bit later, and I'm gonna look at the audio and video and see what I can do to sync it. Worst comes to worst, I go back to the old system, but I'm hoping that the sound will come out a little bit better doing this. All right. Well, anyway, everybody, enjoy your Sunday, and thank you so much, as always, for joining me this Sunday. Always much appreciated, and it's a lot of fun for me. All right, ML, have fun in Denver. Thanks, Garrett. Will do. And Garrett, I just want to say I did get your email. Anytime you want to send me an email, man, it's totally fine. I always enjoy them, brother. I mean, I really do. And yeah, it's good. I may not always reply to them quickly because, well, it's just there's so much information I like to reply to, but I always enjoy them. ML, good to see you. Elf, always. Stevie Ray, read between the lines. Thank you. David Smith, Trevor, thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. Mud, Oscar Hellman. Wow, thank you for joining all the way from France. Gib, thank you. Spardella, Julio, thank you so much. Robbie Love, as always, thank you. Marvin Garvins, TBA, we got to thank TBA for the quiz today. He did most of it. He did the heavy lifting on it. And if I've forgotten you, McDon BR, and some others, GMAC, of course, so many. If I've forgotten you, I apologize, but I wish you all a great day, and we'll see you down the road, okay? See you next week.